I'm not, it's one of those like, well, did this person really mean fine? Or did they mean I'm just giving up? Or I'm just going to stop this conversation and move on in my mind. But
I read a book about that. It was it was about negotiation tactics. I forget who wrote it, but there's a difference between you're right and that kind of placating kind of language of just shut up. You're right, meaning I agree with you. You've convinced me versus yeah, whatever.
yeah, it's for some people who have empathy. Now, there's some people who it won't work on, right? But for some people who have empathy, it is a tactic where you can say, you can do that, and then like, wait, I need to please this person, or I need to put myself in their shoes and understand what. Oh no, and maybe empathy is not the only thing that this plugs into, but yeah, it could be. In my experience, I think it has been. Someone says fine, and you're like, or whatever. Oh my goodness.
No, that's definitely I don't care. Just be quiet right now. Silence.
Right. Silence. Yeah,
I'm
it's
driving here.
Whatever, Darrell.
Well, funny old topic to be discussing as we close in on the opening of a show. I know everyone we missed a week or so. It was because there was no news.
None whatsoever.
Nothing to talk about. Hey, look, there's Daniel in the chat. Oh, right.
That's me.
That's you. Yeah. No, we had other things happening. I was sick for a bit, and what were you up to?
Last week?
You were ready to go.
I was. What most people, regulars of the show, understand is that Darrell pushes buttons for the video. Now, I know how. It's just I haven't done it in a really, really long time. And actually the process has probably changed 3 or 4 times since.
We've changed the button.
Right. But I produce the audio version and do editing and all that and produce that. And so when it comes to, hey, one of us is going to be out, it's like one of those things probably is going to suffer a little bit. And last week it was, I am not too comfortable with the new video ways, the ways of the force that Darrell has, and so we just didn't do it for last week.
That's fair. That is fair. We use Restream on the show here. We had used OBS, Open Broadcast Software, for a number of years. Found that Restream ended up being just easier and more equal in terms of quality. And yeah, it's been.
It actually has some really great benefits for us, but maybe that's for the green room next week.
Green room, yeah.
That's what we're calling this, right? Maybe we should make the background green next time.
No, I was thinking about changing the background anyway.
Yeah.
Well, we're at time. Let's get on with it. Yeehaw! Yeehaw!
Nice.
Wow.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 241 of the 365 Message Center show. I am Daniel, and that is
Darrell, as they say. I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know either. So welcome. I do want to pause here for just a moment. Today in the United States is a day that, Memorial Day, a day that we pause, we stop, we recognize those that have served our country in the military and have made the ultimate sacrifice, have lost their lives in the service of our country. We recognize and honor them year-round. I know I do, but today is set aside as a special day for us to pause and do that as a nation. And I wanted to just take a moment to say, for those that have served, we thank you. But for those that we have lost family members, friends that have served, we want to say that we honor them today, and that we appreciate your sacrifice to keep our land free and our world safer. So thank you very much.
Well said.
Thank you very much, everyone. So for allowing me to say that. So switching gears, I will say that today's going to be kind of fun because we actually have a couple of Outlook announcements, which is interesting. Something that we don't normally. It's we have several Teams announcements today, and I think we only have one that we're covering that's related two for Teams, but it's mostly anyway. First of all, I wanted to do two things, if you'll allow me, Darrell.
You may. Go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, everyone who is watching or listening to this podcast, please give us a thumbs up. It helps others find the podcast. Feel free, and we would give you some sort of an award. I'm sure I can find something around here to give away to those who also share. Take the URL, just copy it from the podcast or from the video and paste it into your favorite social medium, whether that's Insta, that's Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and just paste it in there and say, I like this show, you should watch it too. We'd greatly appreciate that. The second thing I wanted to do is to show off. You okay over there? Maybe some water?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm fine.
Is show off my new shirt. How do you like my shirt?
It's it's quite new. It's you might say modern.
My shirt for those audio podcasts is hashtag. Oh, it's over here. Hashtag modern is now. I thought it was fun, so I went ahead and got the shirt. It's modern is now, but it also has a .com at the bottom.
All right. Do you have a landing page yet?
Oh, sure. It's a great website. If everybody wants to go out there to modernisnow.com, it's a fantastic site. So, what's that?
Is it kept up to date? I see what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Shh, don't give away the secret.
Okay.
So, did you want to say anything before we kick off and get into?
No. Get into it.
Topics?
Everyone's waiting. Come on, chop. Let's get into it.
Chop. Well, the first up is one about whiteboards, and we're actually going to have another announcement about whiteboards a little bit later. But this one is talking about the change to deletion of whiteboards behavior, MC381447. This is, today, whenever you delete a user account, their whiteboards in Azure just go away. They go poof into the ether of nothingness.
They get recycled, Daniel, the bits and bytes. They're taken to the next whiteboard. It's quite a conscientious decision.
Yes, what Darrell said. So, and we know that the change is happening of storing whiteboards in OneDrive for those that we create and we're sharing. So that's not going to be changed. None of that that's going to act with the retention of OneDrive. So that's not what we're talking about here. But what we're going to be able to do is really transfer those whiteboards. And for a user, before you delete the account, transfer the ownership of those whiteboards using invoke-transfer all whiteboards and be able to transfer those off. So, in your processes for how you deactivate accounts, just make sure that this is part of that checklist. The I will say, deleting a user should not be done quickly. When someone leaves the company, you shouldn't delete that user immediately. And deactivating, taking away licensing, thumbs up, right? But remember, when you recreate a user, it's a different user. Even if you use the same username, totally different user. Any of the things they've owned in the past don't come back magically. This is the way it's been with on-prem AD for ever, and it's the same way. So let's make sure we're not deleting users unless we really want to delete them as part of our process, and it shouldn't be the first step. Anything else you want to mention about this, Darrell?
No, I just it's good to see a process and some rigor around the ownership of whiteboards. This is another thing that is stored in also in your OneDrive. So this sort of process is just as important for offboarding employees as anything else involving OneDrive. Loops included, which they're still figuring out, I see.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So speaking of new stuff, I'd like a preview of the fancy Outlook for Windows.
I might have you covered there. Release of the preview of Outlook for Windows, MC 381.366. This time, a legitimate preview. Not one that you have to go to a speakeasy and mention a password and say, Tom sent me, and download it and get yourself in trouble. No.
Tom?
This is legit. Sorry, Tom, for all the Toms that I know. I'm sorry, I wasn't referring to you. But this is legitimate, right? This is a way of getting Outlook early, and it is via the Office Insider beta channel. This is a way of being able to get software early to try things out. And I will just, briefly show you as part of that. I'm not going to step through this in terms of a demo because video coming. But this began to roll out on May 17th. And it's, something I can show you now. Rather than just talking about it, let's take a look. Right. So here we have it. It's right here. Or maybe not, Daniel. Maybe not. What is this? No. Okay, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, that's it. No. Okay. Outlook. Whoops. No, I shouldn't have done this live.
Nice.
It cut back to the old profile. Just a moment. Yes, we'll restart.
So maybe you can describe what you're doing. Like, why is this happening?
Why is this happening? Because Darrell decided to do something exciting for the show again, and has not been prepared as properly. With the beta channel version of Office, you will begin to see a switch up in the top right-hand corner of Outlook, which lets you try the new Outlook. And, just even getting to that point of how do we get beta channel on our desktops, I've used the method of the Office deployment tool. And this is a way that your admin might be deploying Office to your desktops. And you can do it as an individual, if you've got permission, of course, on your own machines. But there's a switch or two here that when you run the program, it downloads a version and it says use the beta channel version of Office. So that's how I've got it onto my machine. And it's really just a case of, okay, I want to try this out. Let's switch it over. Try the new Outlook. You choose.
So you're clicking the toggle up in the right hand.
Correct.
Corner.
Yeah, and okay, you might have seen just as a brief cut over there as something of a little joke. I had the Outlook web access in the background with the same account, and now Outlook, now that it's been switched over, has loaded up over the top of that, and there's not a lot of difference. Here we go. Outlook on the web, new Outlook. Outlook on the web, new Outlook. There are some differences, and there will be. But key thing here is that it really is as close as possible the code for the Outlook on the Web experience to bring those capabilities and features, which I know, Daniel, you use a lot.
100%. And I love Outlook on the web. And so seeing this kind of, hey, look, this new Outlook is going to be very, very close to that, I think is amazing. And, when we talk about, in fact, we've got a update later on the show that I'm going to say, see, you should be using Outlook on the web. And so for this version as well, it'll work. So I like that. Yep.
Yeah. Now, there are going to be some things that it is in preview. So do expect there to be some things missing in that experience. And just get rid of that. We'll just jump on back to our message. Things like if you're wanting to, or you need multiple accounts where you might be signed into a few different accounts and you want them layering your calendars and accessing mail in different places, search folders, shared mailbox support, those sorts of things. So it's just cautiously, this is something you'll try and then just quickly see, can I still do my job before you continue? So it's available now. I've told you a little bit about how to get it on your machines, and if you get some help from your admins to do so, if you're not the admin listening in, and just try a few things out. Now, we did have some kerfuffle in the community as that previous beta build was leaked and came out, and there was a switch there to say, if you want to prevent it from working on your machines, or rather connecting to your mailboxes, then here's a PowerShell script. That's still the case. It's still there if you want to have that kind of control. So have a look further down the notes if you feel the need to prevent the new Outlook client from cutting over. But as I mentioned, I'll be doing a deeper dive in a video, script video at some point, and we'll move on to the next message, Daniel.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah. So the next message is about Stream. So this is configure the existing Stream tile in Microsoft 365 App Launcher to go to the new Stream app on office.com. And this is rolling out, targeted release began rolling out late May and expected to be completed by late June. And standard will be rolling out early July and expected to be completed by late August. I did want to mention one thing. I just read this. I said targeted release, and it's got in parentheses entire organization. When I give a talk about this whole keeping up with change, one thing I point out is there's actually 3 settings for your environment, for your tenant. One being targeted release, another being standard, and then there's kind of one sort of in the middle, which is targeted release for certain people. Well, when it says entire org, that means if you've selected that first one, targeted release for entire organization, if you've selected targeted release for selected users, then you won't get it. You'll get it at a later time, right? And probably it could be inferred it's at the standard release time. Okay, rabbit hole, I'm coming back. So for classic Stream, this is that Stream app we've used in previous stream.microsoft.com that it gives you that experience of a portal for your videos, and you have channels and you can publish to. We've been talking about this for a long time now, the new version of Stream. The modern Stream, modernisnow.com, is the modern Stream is really the technology that's powering your video and audio files in SharePoint and OneDrive. What Microsoft is transitioning to is this new app, and I'm putting app in quotes because it's really a landing page right now for video content and audio content on office.com. It really is just a filter on your files. In fact, when you go to office.com and see your files there, if you click on filter and click on videos, then it looks very, very similar to this landing page for Stream. Now, what you're going to be able to do once you get it, now my demo tenant that is targeted release already has this, so yours may as well, if it's set to targeted release, is you'll be able to go to SharePoint Administration Home, go to Settings, and then there's a stream link, a stream option for settings. Now, one thing that you'll notice in this screenshot that Darrell's showing, and the screenshot that is in the message, is it looks like the top one is highlighted, which is the default admin center. That's not the right setting. The screenshot's wrong. The setting that you have to select is called Stream. That's the app, and then the name of it is App Launcher Tile. Once you do that, you have 3 choices. You can automatically switch, and that will be whenever the grand selection is done. When Microsoft says, "Okay, we're done. We're switching."
When Microsoft thinks it's ready.
That's right. The second one is for Stream on SharePoint. That's modernisnow.com. That is the modern, and that's what we're talking about here, what this new look is on office.com. And then the third one is Stream Classic. Now, I don't know how this is going to work between the first choice and the third choice. If I select Stream Classic, how long is it going to stay there? Just don't know. This automatic switch to Stream when recommended, there's some sort of logic there that we don't know. Don't have an insight into why it would switch you automatically or not. So just to let you know there. So you can select Stream in the modern one, Stream on SharePoint, and then whenever someone goes to the app launcher in the top left, they select Stream. It will take them to this new office.com place that shows their videos. Now, Darrell, have you seen, and I'm asking this question, I already know the answer, but have you seen this experience in office.com before?
Yes, I have.
And what are your thoughts?
I think it's in line with other applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint documents, where you can go to a page and it shows you stream videos. But it looks a little different, Daniel.
It looks a little different, but it really is. I mentioned the whole filtering thing before. It's very similar to that, and it is not it is not a video experience. It's a file experience, right? So when you go and click on a video, what is the behavior? It takes you to that file, right? It opens a new tab and opens that file, that audio or video file, right?
Yeah.
It is not, and I heard many people call Stream originally the classic version. They called Stream the YouTube for the enterprise. Have you heard that? I heard that a lot.
Yeah, I have. Yep.
That's just not what this is.
No.
YouTube, you expect to see videos. You click on, you can play them right there on the page. Experience the information. No, that's not it. It's just a file list. Now it will, once you open one, it'll show it at the top. But
what you're saying is we'll be maybe a bit disappointed when we change this over, that it won't look like this new portal.
Yeah, I mean, basically you're switching. You're saying, I'm going to switch from classic to modern. Classic was a portal. You could really manage what was shown on the page. You had channels. You could manage the experience, and as a user, I can interact with the videos in a more video interactive way. This is switching users to use a file list.
Right.
And it's a file list of videos that the service says you've seen recently.
I'm not clear on what's the bit in between this, because as Hilda said in the chat, she was concerned about whether this was going to be the default, is it on or off, and that a lot of organizations still depend on being able to go to a portal that's made for them, a channel page that pulls together all the videos for that channel, and how do they still get to that? Do you know?
Yeah, really this needs to be part of your migration process of videos off of that old to new. I don't know what that, honestly, I'm not sure what the recommendation is there for moving videos off of the old stream. And, really, I think organizations need to look at how we're going to manage video moving forward, and what is it that we've put in the Stream Classic experience. Some organizations didn't use it very much, but other organizations used it a lot. This is where Microsoft told us we've moved from this thing called Office 365 Video, which was another service. They said, no, you need to use Stream now. And now it's, no, you don't need to use Stream Classic. You need to use Stream Modern, which is basically another file type, which I like. I like it being another file type, and don't get me wrong, it's just this portal experience. We don't really have that solution right now. You can build somewhat of a portal experience by building a SharePoint page, using a SharePoint template for video, doing search web parts for video, and but it is. It's not there yet, and it's not an automatic thing, right?
No.
It's something every organization is going to have to build for themselves.
Do you think that's the intention, that the new channel is going to be a dedicated communication site for the channel content?
I wish. I think what I would like to see here is a portal that relies on search, that is more customizable, to where I can say I want to highlight these videos, right? So I'm thinking a SharePoint communication site, a portal, right? That I can say, here's some important videos from our organization, but here's a listing of all the videos that may be recommended for you, right? That way I can publish videos on this site, it be highlighted, or otherwise I'm gathering all of the SharePoint, or the files from SharePoint and OneDrive that may be recommended for the user. They follow the site, or it was published to, maybe a video that was published to the home site should be shown on that portal more readily than others. Things like that, to where, no, we're not saying this is some new technology. We're utilizing the power that we have already, but in a way that every organization doesn't have to rebuild it from scratch. It sure would be nice.
Kind of like the way that news is pulled into a hub site.
Yeah.
And that you can filter from different sources.
Right.
There's an idea.
There's an idea.
SharePoint, it's all about following that pattern.
So here's this announcement. I'm not thrilled. I'm not jumping up and down, because frankly, I don't think there's a great solution. I think this is something that is nice to one step, but it's not in a step in a right or wrong direction. It's just a step. I feel like we still have the need for building that video, that multimedia portal for organizations.
Yeah. Be clear on what the experience is before you make this change. And dare I say, apply some change management. Let people know what's coming.
All right, so moving right along, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So feel free that when you're sharing this episode on socials, you throw in your thoughts about what you think about the switch to the app launcher for Stream. And while you're doing that, maybe share your thoughts on annotating in Teams in a shared screen.
Yeah, look, this is something I know a number of my clients are going to be excited about, because they use Zoom and other uses and other use cases, and have loved to be able to draw stuff on the screen, to have a conversation, to annotate, and to collaborate during a call. And so collaborative annotations on presenter shared screen is going to bring that to us in a Teams online meeting, MC 3876. And it's actually, surprisingly, I think it's better than what I expected it to be. They're rolling this out in mid-June, so a few weeks away-ish, completed late June. Notice that there's no splitting of what tenants, what settings, whatever. It's just coming. And it's as you're sharing your screen as a presenter, you will be able to click a button. It's this little pencil icon, I guess, and where you would usually allow people to have control or not control. And it brings up the whiteboard bar. So that is familiar tools for those of you who use Whiteboard. You can ink, you can use laser, you can use your highlight, but also adding sticky notes or text or shapes or thumbs up and all that sort of stuff onto a screen. And so it's the one that the screen that's being shared by the presenter, and you can allow the other people in the meeting to annotate over the top with you, or maybe only you can annotate. You can turn on collaborative cursors so people can indicate, hey, this part of the screen that you're sharing, this is what I want to see more of, and this is what I've got feedback for. So those are good things. It's, yeah, like I said, Daniel, quite surprising. I know that we've got to keep moving along because there's a few more things to talk about, but it's one of the things that's a bit of a gotcha is that if you want to save your annotations after you've had that little session, take a screenshot. There is no button on the toolbar to say save as a PNG or a JPEG. So just keep that in mind. But great to see the melding of Whiteboard and this annotation experience together. And yeah, we'll move along. I mean, any thoughts there, Daniel?
Well, will be interesting to see what people use this for.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to hear it. I'd like to see what kind of improvements in the way people work with this. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. I think it comes up when you're giving some support and you're sort of trying to indicate to people, this is where I want you to go. Saying that out loud, I don't think it's actually going to operate the same way that the Zoom annotation works. This is more like, because it's screenshot, okay, let's drag our stuff all over it. We're done. Okay, turn off annotations. Now we're back to a live screen view. But we'll see. And we'll see in a few weeks' time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Daniel, tell us about that other Outlook announcement for this week.
Yeah. This is Outlook. Additional RSVP options, MC385451. And this is a hybrid world we're living in. There are people that will be going back into the office, some that won't, and maybe will be in and out of the office. And so it could be something that is difficult for you as an organizer to understand. Will people be attending in person or not? Will they be virtual? So coming to Outlook on the web, see, I told you there's another reason why you should be using Outlook on the web. Coming to Outlook on the web and the new Outlook for Windows, which Darrell demonstrated earlier, you will have the option as responding to a meeting invite to say, I'm going to attend, if that's what you're saying, that I will attend in person or virtually. So this will give the organizer information as well as others, because others will be able to see the feedback to see if you're going to be there in person or virtually. And so one thing to note, this is, well, actually a couple things. First, you don't have to be in the same tenant to see these options. So if you're using a browser, you're using Microsoft 365, you will see these options as well, no matter if you're in the tenant or not, meaning you'll be able to see people's responses for that. The other is, if you're using using Classic Outlook for Windows, which is interesting, they're already calling it Classic before the production release of the new one, for 365 or an Exchange Online account, you'll be able to see it, but the responses, but you will not be able to respond with, I'm going to be there virtually or in person. You'll just be able to say yes or no. And this is rolling out targeted release early June, standard release mid to late June, and then for Mac, the current channel late June, and then Outlook Mobile late June as well.
Happy to see this one, because sometimes, you've got an important meeting on and people signal I'm coming, but not necessarily into the office. You might make plans to turn up and everyone else has chosen to attend from home. So they can work both ways. You can all decide, okay, let's all go in and do that.
Exactly. And I honestly, here's one thing that I think is going to happen. Let's be real, is that if, your boss's boss is on this invite and he or she has responded with, yes, I'll be there in person, it's like, maybe I should go in and be there in person too.
Maybe. That's what the boss would hope.
Right. Anyway, so let's talk about multitasking
Yeah.
in meetings, because that's what
Yep.
we all do anyway. But this one is actually a really great multitasking functionality in iPad, which finally is here.
Well, it's a multitask that's designed for the experience to be able to chat while you're in a meeting. Cool. We do that, right? But I attend a fair few meetings from my iPad because it's convenient, and I might be having my breakfast while I'm attending like an early meeting to understand something. So camera off, of course. But my experience to date has been chat. Okay, that's all I see. Meeting continues in the background. Can't see a thing, but I can chat, and then up back to seeing the content. But there's all this conversation going that I want to see as well. So MC384329 talks about a new experience in the in Teams for iPad during meetings, that you'll be able to get that side panel and see the shared content and a gallery down below of the people. So very much closer to Teams desktop experience when attending meetings. So multitasking, chat alongside content. Love it. Not
Makes
much more to say
sense.
about that. Oh, when is it? When is it due? Feature begins rolling out now-ish, late May, which can you get any later here in New Zealand on the 31st of May? Complete rollout by early June. So yeah, I might have to show you how it works. It'll be arriving shortly.
Yeah. It just makes sense too. If you're going to attend the meeting, let's see chat as well.
Yep.
So I love it.
Finishing off, Daniel, with just
Yes.
flowing out the rest of...
Nice. This one is flow.microsoft.com is moving to make.powerautomate.com. MC386412. And this is exactly what it says, is that they are moving the Power Automate service from the domain of flow.microsoft.com to make.powerautomate.com. And this is from somewhere in June to July of 2022. So there's a listing of URLs. Number one thing you need to make sure, for those that regulate URLs, we need to make sure that those are allowed, right? So make sure that powerautomate.com is a domain that you allow. And then there's others here as well. So if the government ones, I'm noticing that are not changing, apparently, or maybe for some reason they forgot to update the message, but it looks like for now maybe those are not changing. From gov.flow.microsoft.us, for instance. And then China is changing from www.powerautomate.cn to make.powerautomate.cn. So
I think
just
you're
make
right
sure
about those government ones. There's actually no change between the two.
Yeah, and so I'm not sure if the message is wrong or if they're actually not changing. So just make sure that these URLs, for those that manage those, make sure those are allowed on your machines as well as in your network. Now, you can go to these URLs now, this says, but just know there's no support. So if something goes wrong when you go to those URLs, don't open up a ticket. It will be supported only when Microsoft enables the redirection. Meaning, once you go to flow.microsoft.com and it automatically redirects you to make.powerautomate.com, then you can get support for the new domain.
Will they still be called flows?
I believe so. We'll see.
Okay.
I mean, there's Microsoft marketing, and then there's what we call them, what everyone calls it, right? So a lot of times those things go together. Sometimes they don't. So if we as a industry want to call them something different, let's do it. But we kind of all have to be on the same page.
I remember that when it was a marketing push to say it's called Outlook on the web. It's not OWA. We're now reserving that for Office Web App.
Yeah.
Oh, and Phil's got something to add there too about the experience at the moment. If you have error trapping using flow.microsoft.com URL, think about updating those flow URLs.
Yes. Yeah, if that is, I mean, if you're using this in any of your flows, any of your apps where you're doing some handling there, that is a great call out by Phil. Make sure you update those for sure.
Yep. That was our last message, and it was a slightly longer episode than usual, but we were glad we could bring it to you. Thank you for your patience as we took an episode off. But we're back, at least for now, till whatever else happens next. Well, that's a bit final.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
But,
you know what to do. It's like this video to let people know, ring that bell to say that you do want to hear about more episodes. I think that when you do choose to subscribe and ring the bell, you'll get more of a notification about when we plan to go live. We usually schedule these quite late, like a day or less before we plan to go live. So good to have that one flicked over so that it'll appear in your feed and you'll know to attend. But thanks again for coming along, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Bye for now.